Hi, welcome to the channel, a budget audio review. Now on this channel I bring some budget items. These can be very cheap, from £10 to £50, £100, something like that. All different kind of hi-fi audio, a little bit diverse sometimes. I may bring something slightly different, but trying to keep it in the ballpark of audio, hi-fi, that kind of stuff. All about buying some cheap budget audio that's still going to sound pretty nice. You're going to get, value for money there. You're going to get some good value for money. Well, other people are looking for more middle end to high end stuff. We're going to start down the bottom, and hopefully I'm going to guide you into some stuff that may be worth buying, maybe worth considering anyway, if you're looking around for stuff. And you may have come here thinking, I maybe want to buy these or buy another item. I can give you my honest opinion, obviously how it sounds to me. Have a look at other reviews as well, and it's nothing better than going and actually listen to it yourself in person. Now don't forget, this is old stuff, so one may vary from the other. One set of speakers I got, even though it's the same model, may differ to another model. You know what I mean? It's like buying a second-hand car, really. It's the same model, both 20 years old, but one may be in really good condition, fly kind of thing, and the other one may need a lot of work doing to it and not so good. So just bear that in mind. I think you got an idea of what I'm saying. Anyway, can't go any further without mentioning Ditton Works. Kevin at Ditton Works, he specialises in speakers mainly. 90-95% of his channel is about speakers, and that's, it's about repairing them. His thoughts on speakers. He used to work for Celestion Ditton a few years ago. Now his speakers are more higher end than this, but it's still worth a visit. Go over there and listen to what he's got to say. Give you some ideas of what to listen for if you're going to go and buy a pair of speakers, and you may be interested in more upmarket speakers than these as well. So definitely worth a visit. Ditton Works. I'm going to leave a link down below in the comments. Right, today's the turn of these Pioneer CS-997 speakers. I'm going to tell you how they sound in a minute. Usual stuff. I'm going to get them on the floor. We're going to take them apart, have a little look inside. I'm guessing how much these would have cost. A bit of a guess here, because I can't find a lot of information about these. But I would have said these come out in 1990. I'm guessing they would have been about 200 quid, somewhere around that bracket. 150, 200 pound. I'm guessing a little bit. But I would have thought that's the ballpark kind of figure. Here in the UK there would have been. I'm going to put a few pictures in that up in a minute. Of actually in a system where they've matched Pioneer, matched them up in a system. But I'll come to that in a minute. What I'm going to do first of all is measure these. And we're going to have a little look inside as well. I'm going to show you some pictures, etc. So first of all, I'm going to measure them. Right, so just bear with me here. They are 27.5 inches in height. Width-wise, this is approximately about 13.5 inches in width. And the actual depth is to the baffle, to the front of the baffle, is 10 inches. So there you've got an idea of the actual measurements of these. Now, let's just go through a few things. I want to show you a few things first. I'm going to put this picture up very, very quickly. These come out, these kind of got matched. I mean, you could buy these separate, but here we got Pioneer. This is a German leaflet I got hold of. This is the System X D400 CD. It's got a CD player, it's got a graphic equalizer, it's got a tape, got quite a few things. Now that amplifier there, let's just bring up the amplifier actually. It's an A447 integrated amplifier, and it got a fairly good reviews on reviews. I've been looking at the amplifier. They do a 449, which is pretty similar as well, I think, and a 400 that's not got the tone controls on, just a cut down version there, and all of them seem to get a good review. I mean, I'm going to try and get hold of one of them amplifiers as a matter of interest. Yeah, it's just something to bear in mind. But going by them reviews, I think these speakers are probably the weakest part of the link. I think, going by this particular system, that they're kind of matching them up here with if you went and bought it as a package kind of thing. Okay, so let's get me leaflet so I know exactly what I'm talking about here. Now this bass driver is 25 centimeters, and we got the mid-range, which is at the top here. The mid-range is at the top, and this is 7.7 centimeters. So I'm a bit stuttering today, I don't know why. And this here in the middle is the tweeter, and this is a 6.6 centimeter tweeter there. So anyway, the information's on there, on that picture I just showed you anyway. Now I just want to show you a few things here for the quality here. Don't forget, these are like 30 years old now, so things are going to differ a little bit, you know what I mean. Not really as good as you went and bought them brand new kind of thing. But here's the front cover here, and they look quite nice. I'll show you a picture very, very quickly at the front here. On the floor, as you can see, with and without the cover, and they look quite nice with the light shining through them kind of thing, and you're catching the rims of these speakers here through the actual grill, and they look quite nice really. But this grill here is plastic. A lot of grills are plastic or wooden anyway, but it's quite flimsy. Now because obviously this is quite taut, this front here, over a period of time it's actually buckled. This is buckled, so when you put this on, it's kind of like that, like a bowl kind of effect on the front. So it just shows you like it's not the greatest bit of plastic. They could have had it a bit more rigid, I think. So over a period of time, this being taut has started bending this, and then if it goes any further, it's going to be like a U-shape kind of thing. So just something there that kind of gives you an idea of the quality of this speaker maybe. Also, this is like a vinyl wrap kind of thing, and so much so, I mean, I know this is 30 years old now, but as you can see, the vinyl's just like falling off of it now, and that's the kind of vinyl wrap we had on this MDF kind of speaker cabinet kind of thing. So anyway, now we're going to have a little look inside anyway. So yeah, let's have a look inside. These look quite nice. I mean, they've got this plastic thing on, that I say, around these speakers just to really finish them off, and they look quite nice. They look a bit retro-y kind of thing, I suppose, in a way. Anyway, here they are again with the front with and without the grille. Now the bass driver here, what we have to do for the bass driver, we undo these 6 screws. So it's got 6 screws holding this in, which, you know, is pretty good really. You think, you know, most of these drivers have just got 4, got 6 here, so you think you're getting a bit of a quality here because you've got the 6 screws. But as we whip it out there, it's got the actual rim is actually attached to it. There probably is a way of getting it off, but it is attached to it. So if we stick it on its side there, as you can see, it's not got a great big magnet. It's quite small, the magnet really. And we have a look closer up at the magnet. You've got the Pioneer stamp there, the part number, and made in Taiwan. Sorry about that, made in Taiwan. Right, this is a 10-inch driver, and if we put it on the scales, it's you know, it's got a small magnet. It's a little bit on the light side, maybe not. So as you can see, 1,151 grams it weighs approximately. If you compare this to, I've got a couple of 8-inch drivers here. One from the Wolfdale 505.2, that weighs 1014, but don't forget that's 8 inches. So we've got at about a fifth, you know, 8 inches compared to 10 inches. It's about a fifth heavier, it should be, kind of thing. So it should be about 1,200 grams, but I don't know, I'm guessing a little bit here. Maybe it's not that important. But the Morden Short there, the 35 Ti driver I've got 8-inch, weighs 1,362 grams. Just for a bit of fun, we'll weigh them, just give you the difference there. Okay, so we go on to the tweeter here, here's the middle. We're just going to undo these 4 screws here and take the tweeter off. And once we take this ring off here, this first ring, it's still held in by 2 more screws, so we undo them 2 screws, and there it is out. And as you can see, the Pioneer stamp on the back of the part number, and again, made in Taiwan. Now the mid-range is at the top here, and we're going to undo these 4 screws here, and there it is with the 4 screws undone. So then again, it's, you know, pop it back over. It's got the Pioneer stamp and the part number, and made in Taiwan again. And there's the cabinet, the speaker, with all 3 speakers taken out on the floor there. So if we have a little look inside, there's not much dampening going on inside, just one piece of kind of like quite thin and quite, you know, not got much density to it. Bit of wall there at the bottom or whatever they've used. There's the crossover. It's pretty simple crossover, just 2 normal caps by the looks of it, and 2 coils, and it's got a little overload protection unit there as well. I think, you know, if you turned it up too much, too many watts going in, it will cut out to protect the speaker. And we have a little look at the back. You've got the spring connections there, just normal spring connections. A close up of the sticker at the back tells us it's rated 190 watts music power, 8 ohms, and it's actually made in France, the actual cabinet, and it's all put together in France. So there you go, that's the speaker, that's a look inside and everything else. So now let's tell you what I actually thought about the speaker. Okay, so now onto the sound. Now don't forget, I test these out with about 4 or 5 different amplifiers and receivers. So I'm going to give you a general how they are. I mean, so you could get one amplifier saying, well, they're not going to sound quite as good as I'm saying they sound, kind of thing. I'm just going to give you a general, because they did differ a little bit between amplifiers and receivers that I used on them. And the ones I used was the Audiolabs 8000. I used the Sensu 331. I've got that little JVC, that 11. They, you know, it's quite a nice little amplifier, that little JVC A11 or whatever it's called. I used that on here. I used my Marantz amplifier, and I used my Marantz receiver as well. So I used a few different things to try these out with. Now, if we start off with the bass, now I'll put these on stands. My stands are 24 inches high, which is a little bit high for these, obviously. These is quite tall now with these 24-inch stands underneath them. So if you're going to put a little stand on them or something like that, probably 6 or 8 inches, something like that, you're probably going to use off the floor. But these are floor standards, so you would stick them on the floor as well. So I've done that as well. So I've done a little bit of everything, a little bit of experiment, I suppose, back and forth the wall. But what I didn't say also, it's got a rear port. Hopefully, I didn't actually mention that, but the rear port is at the top here, and it's to the side, to one side. So if we look at this speaker, as here now, it's actually to the right hand side at the back. I'll just stick a picture up there now, just so you know exactly where that port is at the back. I did forget to mention that. But like I said, it's not got a lot of padding here. It's got just a little bit of dampening down the bottom, and the old cabinet, it's fairly solid. You know, it's fairly solid. It's about 1/2 inch thick, I suppose. So it's a fairly solid cabinet, but it could do with a bit of bracing and all that kind of stuff. But obviously, it's going to add extra to the money. Something you may want to do, you may want to pad it out a bit more with some more dampening inside. If you went and bought a pair of these, that is, you may want to try and just make it sound a little bit better than what it is. So there's a few options you've got. I'm not going to bother with these, obviously, but it's something you can do if you stumble across these and you buy a pair for yourself, because they are, like I say, lacking in that padding and probably a bit more brace. And as you can tell, it's not greatly the way it's been made. It's quite cheaply put together, as you can probably tell by that there. Okay, so if we start off with the base, I'm going to start it off on the stands first of all, and we'll come back to the floor business a bit later on. On the stands, even though it's got a 10-inch base unit here, it's a little bit on the weak side, the base, a little bit weak. It's a little bit loose, the base. It's one noted, it's quite one noted, the base. It was okay, you know what I mean, it weren't too bad, You'd expect to get a bit, you know, being a big cabinet, big unit, you'd expect to get a little bit more base out of them on the stands. But it was okay, it weren't too bad, you know what I mean, it weren't too bad. Going on to the mid-range, don't forget the mid-range is at the top here. Mid-range wasn't too bad, nothing exceptional, nothing fantastic or anything like that. It was okay, a little bit harsh in places, but it wasn't too bad, I suppose. Got to be honest, it's not something you could probably listen to for a long time. If you're sitting down and you're talking about HiFi, you know, you're talking about actual HiFi kind of thing, you want to get a nice pleasant sound, you know, you want something nicely to listen to, you want to sit back and relax and not take too much notice of it, and you want to get a decent sound, and it's probably not for you, you know what I mean. It is harsh in places, you know. Some amplifiers helped you out a little bit, smoothed it off a little bit than others. So if you don't quite match up with the right amplifier, you're going to be in a bit of trouble here, I think, with the mid-range. But it was okay. It wasn't nothing fantastic. It was okay. We'll come back to a general thing in a minute. But yeah, if I just got my notes here. No, going back to the mid-range and that, and then you listen to pianos and stuff like that. It was all right, but it weren't. You know, it's like they're playing the piano with the lid shut, kind of thing. You know, you've got the piano there and the strings, and they've got the lid half open or whatever on a piano. If you can imagine them playing, I mean, obviously some pianos are shut anyway, I suppose. But you know, just talk about one of them pianos where you can hear the string, you can feel the kind of strings in the sound. It was like that piano was shut, like I say, it kind of dampened it down quite a bit, and kind of like wasn't a lot of detail. You know what I mean? It wasn't a lot of focus to it. It was okay. You know what I mean? It was okay, but you know, if you're kind of judging this with HiFi, then it's not HiFi kind of thing quality. Top end here. It's quite a lot of top end on this speaker. It's got quite a high top end here. So you're going to hear stuff that you probably haven't heard on other tracks than that, because it just sucks the top end out of the track and throws it at you kind of thing. So the top end is quite a lot of top end. Now the detail wasn't too bad. Now if you're hitting a bell, ding 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 ding, or the ride cymbal at the top, ding 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 on the ride cymbal, something like that, sounds okay. It doesn't sound too bad. It's when you get to the tss, tss, quite mushy, you know, not very detailed really. A little bit messy kind of thing, and on a slower track this speaker wasn't too bad. On some slow tracks, not a lot happening, wasn't too bad. As soon as things started moving about and things started speeding up and that, it kind of loses its way, gets all kind of congested, you know, gets confused kind of thing. It loses its way and loses its definition, loses its clarity. What clarity it has got, it seems to lose. So yeah, you start struggling. Now this speaker here really is a speaker that you're going to have for a party, because this has got, you know, it's 90 dB this speaker, the sensitivity. Didn't have to turn the amp up a lot. It sounded louder than 90 dB, to be honest with you. Quite a big sound stage as well. The sound stage was quite big, the singer was big, everything was big about the sound stage. Went beyond the speakers as well. Quite flat, didn't have much depth to it or anything like that. It was quite a flat sound stage, but it was quite big. So it's quite a big sound, it's quite a loud sound stage, so you could have a little amplifier, you know, 10, 20 watts, something like that. You're going to get some big sounds out of this amplifier. It's going to fill up the room kind of thing. And if you want to get some more bass and you want to get some bass out of it, you're going to have to stick it on the floor to get the bass, get the boom kind of thing. And that's where it does come in. It's boom, it's boomy, it's flabby kind of thing. It's a bit on the loose side, not well controlled, like I say, really one noted. The bass guitar on that, you're not hearing the different strings, different notes and that. It's pretty one noted, all that kind of stuff. It's okay, it's a party kind of speaker. It's kind of like for some of these people want to crank it up and just listen to the boom 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 and the tss kind of thing. And the vocals are a little bit edgy, like I say, they're a little bit on the edgy side, but when you're cranking it up, you've got a few beers and that, you're having a party, you're not too bothered, you're not sitting back, you know, criticising this, criticising that, you just listen to the music and the boom 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 and the tss tss, and that's kind of like how it sounds. It's quite boom 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 and tss tss tss. Obviously when you put it on the floor, that vocals and their mid-range frequencies seem to just get drawn back into the speaker. They're not so prominent, they get drawn back because the bass is taking over in the top end. Like I say, it's got quite a lot of top end to it. So all in all, let's just make sure I'm not missing anything here. Let's have a look. Yeah, one noted, piano, lid closing the piano, just lacks detail really. You know, it's not very well controlled or anything like that. It's on the R side, on the floor. Yes, that probably wraps it up really. I haven't really got so much else to say about it really, you know what I mean? It's okay, it's not really hi-fi. I mean, pitting it with that system, I don't know what the rest of the system's like saying that D400 CD system, they've got a picture of it there. Don't forget this is old. I mean, you could probably change them caps in the crossover, but these speakers they got here are all cheap kind of speakers. It's cheaply made. You kind of got an idea what this speaker is, I think, you know what I mean? It's just a run-of-the-mill, get it out quick, easy to make speaker. But they probably make quite a bit of profit on this if they're selling it for like £150 or £200. You know, it's probably a reasonable amount of profit for them as well. So it's a party speaker, I think, you know what I mean? Don't go and get this. If you're buying an hi-fi, not just want a little, you know, muck about with it a little bit, and you're not going to pay a lot for it. These on eBay go for about £30 or £40, so you're getting quite a big speaker, quite a lot, you know, quite a big cabinet, quite a big thing. But it ain't that great, you know what I mean? It's probably under run of the mill, you know what I mean? It's not even average kind of thing. You'd be disappointed. Not like I say, not unless you're not too worried about how it sounds. You just want to boom 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 kind of thing. If that's your kind of music and you don't mind your sound like that, vocals are quite not bad, but they're a bit edgy in that. That's the kind of speaker you're getting. So I can't really recommend it, obviously, for you if you're going to go and set up an hi-fi. You know, you kind of call it hi-fi, low budget hi-fi. That, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about mid-range or high-end hi-fi. You know, just a little budget hi-fi. You're going to sit down, relax, and listen to and get all the detail and all that out of it. Then you're going to be disappointed with this. But if you're going to have a party and with a cheap set of speakers, you're going to go and buy yourself a cheap amp or something, and you're not too fussed about it. You just want it loud and plenty of booming going on and this is for you probably. This is probably for you. You're not going to be worried too much if people spill their beers over or anything like that. You know what I mean? You're not going to worry too much about it, kind of thing. Okay, until the next video, I'll say for watching, and I'll see you all soon.